Hey y'all, it's Christy Cook from Teadoddles. Today is my first thrifty and DIY podcast, I guess. I don't know. I'm trying to break this down by different kinds of crafts that I do. So today I'm sitting at my main work table that's in the middle of my room. You can see a lot of my DIY supplies behind me. That's my DIY pegboard. Well, most of it. I have stuff in other areas. But, and plus I have bigger stuff to show today, so I needed a surface to sit things on, right? So I'd like to welcome all new subscribers and any returning subscribers. I'm glad you're here. I can't wait to share my thrifty finds. Last week I did a fabric obsessed podcast, and I did show you some thrifted fabrics. Now these are the other objects I found from that were, well, actually I have a few more sewing related ones because I left them out last week. I forgot they were in this other box over here. But I think I said that I was saying I spent $40, but the fabric that I showed last week actually only spent about $10 on. Yeah, something like that. So that day I had $60 cash, and I bought the thrifted stuff I showed in the Fabric Obsessed podcast and the things I'm about to show you. But I also had breakfast at Burger King, and I bought a round of coffee for everybody when we went off to the Goodwill. So that was 4 coffees. And then I also, at the Goodwill, they round up, and it was $9. I had a $10 bill. I said, just take the $10 bill. So part of it was donation. So that was the whole $60. So I'm gonna just share with you everything else I found that's not necessarily sewing related. This past Wednesday, I did a blog post about some of the items that I found. I'm going to show on this really cool old sewing machine box. And usually when I see these, they are about $20 or better. This one was $10, but I got half off of that, so I only paid $5 for this box because they were just trying to clear everything out. In that little sale I went to, what it was there was 2 older ladies that, and I think they had someone else that they did this with, but they would go to yard sales or estate sales and find stuff and resell it. And they were telling me that they were tired, that building was where they stored everything, and they kind of opened it up to clear everything out because they wanted to retire and do nothing. That was their story. So that's why I got such great deals on all this stuff. This particular thing was filled with these spindles right here. And on the blog Wednesday, I turned some of them into ornaments. Some of the bigger ones, because there's 3 different sizes in there. So I did, sorry about that noise. I did some like this. And I don't know if the sparkle's going to show. Put my hand in front of my face. Maybe it'll show. You can see better pictures on the blog though. I used, it's called Extreme Sheen paint from Deco Art. And y'all, this is just 1 coat of paint. And these things are super shiny. And it was on raw wood too. But I put these little eye hooks in the top so you can hang them for Christmas ornaments. They're kind of larger. So I did half of them that way, and I did the other half like this, kind of icicle-y. There is the sparkle, maybe. Okay, well, either way, you can see a better view of these on the blog with the pictures. And this one I painted a coat of chalk paint in vintage. It's also Deco Art chalk paint. And then I had some older acrylics and tubs I've had forever. I painted some lighter blue here and a darker blue here. And then I just used craft glue and coated that with crystal glitter on the ends. Oh, and I also rubbed the whole thing before I put the glitter with what's called metallic luster and a silver. So it gave it a nice sheen. So I had those two different kinds. That's what I did with the larger ones. I have these smaller ones like this, and the medium size ones as well. But I ordered some hooks, some smaller eye hooks, and I didn't put them over here with me, but for these, because the eye hooks I had were just from a picture hanging kit, and they were just too big for these smaller ones. Well, the ones I ordered are too small for the smaller ones. Oh, I think I did, okay. I got one to actually go in there out of 4 that I tried to put in different ones. They would twist off when I was holding them with the pliers to put in there, well, the nylon pliers, and break, because they're really for jewelry, and it really wasn't, they weren't going in here, even though these all have a hole in it one end. Well, the little smaller ones don't, but the bigger ones did. So I've got to order some mid-size hooks so I can finish these up. But I think I'm going to make a garland out of these smaller ones. And I'll probably make these more like an ornament, kind of like the larger ones. Or I may put them in between the smaller ones. I don't know yet. But I need to get the other eye hooks before I finish those. So basically I got all the spindles and this box for about $6 or $7 was all it wound up costing me. So that was a pretty good deal. And I'll be doing a project later on with this wooden sewing machine box. So you can look for that on the blog soon. Alright. And what else did I find? Oh, this is so noisy. I'm sorry, guys. Okay, I found these. And you might not know what this is. I found one like this. And I found one like this that's more rounded. These are record holders. So they're older, yeah. I paid a whole 50 cents after, because the way it worked is everything had prices on it, but it was half off of whatever that price was. So they were $1, and so I paid 50 cents for them. And I don't know exactly what I'm going to do with these yet, but I thought they were really cool, and I felt like I could do something with them. Plus, I looked on Etsy, and I saw some of these selling for $25. So, because some people are really into the record collecting now. This one does have a bit of rust on it, though, on that side. I'm not sure if that'll buff off or not, but I probably wouldn't resell it. I have some ideas about what to do, but I've got to test it out before I share that. So, and by the way, for anybody that's subscribed to my blog, I normally post on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. I did not post, well, today. I'm recording this today, but the video will be uploaded for tomorrow. Because this week I have been sick. Then my husband got sick. It was also the first week for me at the tech school that I teach at. I had already started at the high school, so I've had to travel back and forth this week and be sick. And Monday and Tuesday my voice was nearly gone and very squeaky, which is why I did not record my Tutorial Tuesday video. So that is why those things are missing this week if you're looking for it. But you will get to listen to this Saturday if you like. So next week should be more back to the normal routine, so to speak. So let's carry on and see what else I found. I found another lampshade frame. This one's bigger, and it does have the finial. My dad gave it to me to put in my purse so I wouldn't lose it, and it's still in my purse. So I got to remember that. That's why my purse is so much heavier, probably. But I love finding these old lamp frames like this one, lampshade frames. And this one's much larger than the one I had before. I showed that in my scrap tutorial about what to do with scraps. I showed how I made a lamp. I covered the lampshade frame with my old selvage edges and everything like that. So I don't know if I'll do the same thing with this one. I may try something different, but this was a whole, well, it was half of $1, so it was only 50 cents. I love a good deal like that. So that was a good find. Don't fall. Then I also found this, which cost me a whole 50 cents as well. It's an old cutting board. These are really great for painting signs and things on. I definitely would not use it as a cutting board again. But if you really, I don't know what this is made out of though, but if you were to really sand this down and sanitize it and refinish it really well, you probably could use it as a cutting board again. But I like to get them for painting signs and things like that. So, and that one was a whole 50 cents. It's nice and thick too. Has the beveled edges, and that's the hole, which a lot of times they'll have. Sometimes they'll have a rope or something if you wanted to hang them. But so that was one of my other finds. And then these were also 50 cents each. I found these really great wire baskets. You can still see the tag on that one. It says $1, but remember everything was half price. And then I found this one, which has a similar shape to the wire bands, but it's shaped different. It's more flower shaped, and this one's oval. And they just say they're made in China. This is hollow, but I think they must be silver plated or something. You can see on that one where I rubbed it a little bit, and it's super shiny down in there. So I'm gonna buff these. This one's a little dirtier looking than this one, but what I'm most likely gonna do is make one of those tiered stands out of it. That's what I first thought about when I saw it, because I passed by them a couple times before I decided to grab them up, because I kept looking at them. The only thing I've got to figure out is I really want to put wood between the two, because I like the contrast of the wood and the metal. So I've got to figure, this is kind of domed a little bit. I don't know if you can tell that there. I've got to figure out what I can use that will stick and stay sturdy, because normally I like to use E6000 for stuff like that. But since it has that domed surface and it's super shiny, this one's even more domed than the other one. I've got to make sure that whatever I set on it fits that dome, if that makes any sense. So I may wind up having to cut a curve to match it, and that's going to take some figuring out. So, but that's my plan to do with those, is to make a tiered tray. So let's see what else I got. I got this really heavy, you can see the price, original price on that was $10. I paid $5 for it, but it is a very heavy wooden just bucket. I really like the knots and stuff in it. Of course, I'll probably be sanding this. I thought about painting it. I probably will paint it eventually, because I know that the farmhouse chic, that's kind of making my voice echo. I'm gonna move it. The farmhouse chic stuff, or farmhouse look, is really popular, but it's just like everybody's painting everything white. I don't have anything against white, but I don't want everything in my house to be white. I gotta have some color in there, you know. So I don't know, I probably will kind of if I paint it, I want to see the wood grain a little bit still through it, if that makes any sense. So I'll see how that goes when I do that. But I think it's a really nice, it does have a little wiggle to it, but I can probably just sand off a corner to get it to set more level. And I have some ideas about what I want to do with it. But But again, I'm not going to say anything about that one yet because I've got to test things out before I decide what exactly I want to do with it. But it was just a nice wooden bucket kind of thing, and I really liked it. I liked all the knots in it and everything like that. It just needs to be cleaned up a bit, and you know, you can see some of that. If I do the right stain on it, it may be pretty just with the wood. I really like the curves in the front of it. Yeah, it's just, I just really liked it. But anyway, let's move on to, I'm going to take a sip of water first. My throat's still recovering from my cold. But at least I don't sound like a frog today. I hope I don't sound like a frog today. I know I sounded a little rough on my last Saturday because my cold ran from last Friday on through probably the middle of this week before I started feeling any better. And like I said, my husband kind of overlapped me with his cold, and so we both just been like, ugh. So we're feeling better now, finally. And we're looking for a restful weekend. Although I'm looking forward to catching up with the things that got behind when I was sick. Okay, so let's look at this other thing. And there's stuff in here, but I'm going to show you the container first. This is a Cheesebox, which was marked to $3. So I got it for $1.50. And I love, this has the nails in it, which I'm not sure, I have to look it up, but that is a good indicator that it's an older Cheesebox, because most of the time they put the staples in it. And this says red wax on the sides, which makes me think it had some of that, a big thing of that red waxed cheese. But this may be just something that they do for this particular box. I don't know. But sometimes I find these cheese boxes, which I really like to recover and refinish. I'll put some links to one that I redid. I used the lid of it to make a reversible fall Halloween sign. And then I just kind of did some different sort of things with paint and a heat gun to the outside of it, to the base. And I had recovered it previously, but I didn't like it anymore, so it was like a remake of a remake. And I don't know what I'm going to do with this one yet, but sometimes I find them and people want $20 or $30 for them, and well, sometimes they're actually really old ones, which I probably wouldn't remake that. I'd probably just use it in decor somewhere, but for something like this that is not super old, I would not pay that much for it. But anyway, let's see what's inside. Okay, so this is something I should have showed in my Fabric Obsessed video, but I forgot it was in this little cheese box. But I found they had a bunch of these too. This is like an old box of JP Coates thread, and it was full of thread on the wooden spools, black thread. They were all black, so that's why I didn't get any more of them. But I think that's just really cool. And y'all, when I find thread like this, I do tend to use it. Because sometimes this thread is stronger than the thread I buy today. It seems like it's made different or something. And then sometimes if it's really faded on the outside, I'll just take off that first layer and then use it. But then sometimes I've used it that was faded because I liked the color change it gave the thread in some of my thread art. So that's something to think about. Now, when I find just the wooden spools, I do keep them just for decoration, or I use them for different things too. One time I did a planter stand and I used the wooden stools for the feet. That's a blog post too. I could link that down there below. And I also found a bag of wooden spools right here. I don't know how much this was. It was probably, it couldn't have been that much. I mean, what I paid for everything. But I have the lamp that I showed in my Fabric Obsessed video last time. I found a big pickle jar full of these, but there's still room in there, so I'll probably be adding these to that pickle jar lamp. So those were things that I probably could have shown with Fabric Obsessed, but, you know, it all relates, right? Oh, and I showed a jar of vintage buttons that I thought, but I also found all of these. I'm sorry about that plastic rattling. these buttons. There's a bunch of them in there, and they're still on the old cards and stuff. I don't want to make so much noise, but I want to show y'all some of them. I'm just going to grab some. So they're just, there's nothing super fancy in here, but it's just cool to have these old buttons, because this is 49 cents. And if you've bought buttons on these cards recently, you'll know that they're definitely not 49 cents. So those are kind of clear looking. These are just some yellow looking buttons. But I paid $2 for this bag of buttons. I haven't looked through everything yet, but they're still on the cards. I probably would use the buttons, but okay, I had to take a mini break so the dog could go out. But that, like I said, I paid a whole $2 for this bag of old buttons, and I will use these buttons on something if I wanted to. I would probably save some of the papers that they came off of, because they're just cool looking, and use them in some kind of scrapbook project. So that's kind of a double thing that I got that for, right? So let me move this so it'll stop making so much noise. There, no more rattling. All right, so this is kind of a crochet related thing, but I found all of these little crochet doilies, and there's like a collar in there. They look old, but I think somebody tea stained them, because this stack of doilies, well, they're made by Doris, so they're not old, but somebody did still make these, because as far as I know, there is not a machine that can replicate crochet stitches, such as knitting. They do have knitting machines that they can make knitted fabric with. But it's, and if somebody knows of one, correct me if I'm wrong, but you can't duplicate crochet stitches on a machine as far as I know. So these were still made somewhere. Well, it says they were made in China, but somebody actually had to crochet these. So anyway, I thought they would be fun to use in different little projects, the doilies, and I think it was $1 or $1.50 for one of the, I think I paid 75 cents for that stack of doilies. And then this bag was $1 after tax, after the half price. So it has a crocheted collar that could be used, well, as a collar, or you can use it for other things too. But I just like finding little things like this that someone made. This also had some bigger doilies in it, and now these don't have stickers on them, so they could possibly be something that is vintage. But this one's really cool. It has the fabric in the center of it, with the crochet in the center of the fabric, and then the crochet around the fabric. And there's this one, which there's two of those. Well, there's three, because this one looks like one. These might be something somebody bought somewhere and tea stained, but they're still cool looking. And there's, let's see, there's one more like that. So there was 4 of the larger like this, and then one like this, and then the crocheted collar. And I don't know, I know some people crochet with regular thread, but this tiny thread here, this is very time consuming. I've done some little doily work and stuff with the tiny thread, and man, that is hard on my fingers, I'm just gonna say. I haven't tried it since I got my new crochet hooks with the rubbery handles, so I may try that out, because I like to, these are fun to add to sewing projects and clothing that I've sewn. It's just a fun little detail to put on things. They're also fun to use in scrapbooks and things like that. So I really liked finding that. Let's see what else. I found this bag of embroidery floss. Probably paid 50 cents for it. Well, I probably didn't pay that much for it because embroidery floss is not super expensive usually, but I have a ton of it. But I just thought, hey, I'm going to grab this bag too. So I might need it one day. You never know. So, and then I also found this bag of mini chalkboards. They're just the kind you can buy in the craft store usually, but I thought they would be really great to make Christmas tags out of or something, or just ornaments. So, because you can use the paint markers on them really well, but I thought that would be something I would definitely use. Like I said, either for gift tags or for ornaments. Then I found these ribbons. Now, this is a fray-proof ribbon made in the United States. This is an old ribbon because you can just tell by this paper thing on it. This ribbon is not nice to feel, but I just loved the print on it. It's got like a wood scene, and there's even a little deer on there and everything. So I found this roll of this, and then I found this little folded up roll of a wider version of it. And it's so, can you hear that? It's not like a soft ribbon, but I think I still might use it on a present, or I may make some ornaments or something out of this. But I just really love the print of it. I didn't like it, the texture of it so much as a ribbon, but I just liked that print. So I'll find something to do with it. That was probably like $1 or something. None of this stuff was expensive. Like I said, I spent, the first time I went in there, I got mostly the fabric and the things I showed you all the things I showed you that I said I got from there in my Fabric Obsessed video. And she told me it was $19 and some change, and I was like, really? She said, well, it can be more if you want to. I said, no, that's fine. I just, I had 2 arms full of stuff and all that fabric, and it was just, I was like, what? And the second time I went back, I spent $21 and some change, and I got most of the stuff I'm showing you here because I didn't get to look at all that because I was too busy looking at the fabric mostly. So, it was a good thrifting day. Let's say that. So then I also got this. This is just a cardboard container, but I thought it was cute. And they did this wooden garland. This is like wooden beads in the red, and I really liked that. And this is one continuous piece of garland. I'm not going to take it out because it's making a lot of noise. But it'll be cool for the Christmas tree or something. Of course, this I probably would put on. I don't put up my big Christmas tree anymore. I didn't do it last year. I made a tabletop Christmas tree out of a tomato cage. And it was just so much easier to set up because my son doesn't live with us anymore. He's in Atlanta at school, and he never got into decorating the tree. It was always just me decorating the tree and then having to take it down, and nobody else really enjoyed that. So I just don't want to fool with it anymore, but I want a Christmas tree, so I have a tabletop Christmas tree. So anyway, I get off on a tangent sometimes, don't I? Well, alright, this is my last, well, it's not my last thing. I'm going to have to go in there and get something else I forgot about. But anyway, this little container said $1.50, so I paid a whole 75 cents for this, but it was full of these things, which are, they got the Broca conductor. They are ceramic electrical not conductors, but they're for electrical things. I looked it up and now I can't remember, but it had a bunch of these in there, and I just thought they were cool looking. I don't know what I'm gonna do with them yet. They're too heavy to make a necklace out of, really, but they're cool. There's a bunch like that, and these are kind of dirty. I haven't cleaned them off yet, but and then there's some like this that say Japan on the side of them, just like that. Got little critters on it. Gotta clean those off. But I I just thought they were really neat looking, and I was like, for 75 cents, I think I'll take them. Because sometimes when I go thrifting, I just find interesting things that I don't know necessarily what I'm going to do with them yet, but I really think I could do something with it. And then sometimes I'll see something and I know immediately what I want to do with it. And I'm like, oh yeah, I need to take that home with me. So, I'm going to pause for a second so I can go get this item that I forgot because it's rather large. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. And I had to stand up so I can show you this. Got this humongous picture frame. Yeah, it's heavy. And it's pretty heavy duty. I got it for a whole $250. And I love, well, you know, big picture frames like this are very expensive in the store. So I did not buy it for the print. Even though I teased my husband when I got home and told him that I was going to hang it over the couch. And he's like, okay. So I was like, no, I'm not hanging that over the couch. It's not really my style. So, I bought it because I can redo it and use it for something else. I don't know yet, but for $250, when you find a big picture frame like that with a nice wooden, wooden frame and everything, you should pick it up because you can do all kinds of things with that. But I think that was everything for the DIY thing. Let's see, what do I have? I haven't gotten to do that many DIY projects recently because it seems like the days that I go out to do, I have a lot of bigger ones to do, and I have to paint outside, so it's either raining or it's way too hot. So this week it's actually cooled off a little bit, so you can feel a hint, just a hint of fall coming. We'll have many more hot days before, straight on into December sometimes. So, but I'm looking forward to the cooler weather because I have some bigger projects that I'd like to work on. Now I have some fun smaller things that I can work on. I don't have any other finished DIY objects to show besides the ornaments that I showed earlier. But most of my DIY projects that I do revolve around my thrift store finds or my yard sale finds, which I don't go as often in the summer because it's so hot. But this one I'm glad I did not pass up on because I got up that morning and thought, I don't know if I want to get up this early Saturday and go traipsing off to some awesome finds. So that's it for my DIY and thrifting video. You can look forward to seeing some of the other projects I make with these on the blog. My DIY posts go out on Wednesdays typically, except for my Pinterest challenge one, which goes out Tuesday mornings. And I missed that this month. So, but I am signed up for the rest of the year now, so I'll have that set in place once a month through the Pinterest challenge. And that's just where you find something on Pinterest and actually make it. You know, all the pins that we save, if you're a pinner, you understand that. So the challenge is to actually make something that you've pinned. So I've really enjoyed that. It's challenged me and made me lots of fun things. So, yeah, I think I'm going to end this now because it is later on Friday evening and there's some ice cream in the freezer calling my name. So I hope y'all have a fun weekend and make lots of things. I will put all the links down at the bottom for the blog post I talked about. And if you like this, give it a big thumbs up and think about subscribing. So next Saturday will be my monthly roundup post, and that'll just be me talking about, it's the end of the month, and well, actually I think next Saturday is that the first of the month? I don't know. It's the last Saturday. It is the first of the month, but I'm talking about what happened in August. So anyway, it'll be a roundup of what happened on the blog for the month and other things that I did or anything else coming up on the blog or coming up for my YouTube videos. I'm trying to think of what to do for my next Tutorial Tuesday video. I'm thinking about doing a tutorial video for, on my blog, I did a crochet pattern for a pixel and lace heart, which involved some surface crochet. So I'm thinking about doing some blog, a series of tutorials on how to do that. I'd also like to do a video with my thread sketching that I do on the sewing machine, and where I take the yarn and make my yarn trees that I've been making. I did a post on that Monday. But I've got to figure out how to record with my phone on my sewing machine so y'all can see it, but then I can still see that I'm sewing what I'm sewing. And my light on my sewing machine, it blocked out everything the last time I tried to do that. So I've just got to figure out how to do that. So those are some things. If you've seen anything on the blog that you would like to see a video tutorial of, please let me know. I will try to make that happen if I can. Some things I might not be able to make happen because it may have been a one-time creation, but maybe I can figure out a way to do a video for it. So anyway, I've rambled on yet again. So I'm going to say goodnight to y'all, or have a happy crafting weekend, and I will see y'all next Saturday.